Hello and welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Alethea. I'm Alethea Jacob, and during this episode, we're going to be talking about sacred places and manifesting the things that you want or need. Earlier this week, I had seen an ad on TV on for travel to, I think it was Egypt. That was the ad. And it reminded me back when I had traveled to Egypt back in 1994. And how going to sacred places and having experiences in these sacred places can be not just cool and fun to experience them for a lot of different reasons, but it can also be very energetically fulfilling and enhancing because we can bring some of that energy with us. And in some of these sacred places, there's such an energy that's present that the prayers that we send out from our heart, the intentions that we put out into the universe, the desires and things that we want to manifest become very crystallized and clearer and empowered by the energies that are in these different sacred places. So I wanted to take some time during this episode to share a short story about when I went to Egypt and how it proved to me about how sacred places can help us manifest things. I talk about kinds of sacred places that are out there, and also, reasons why and benefits of going to them. And then I'm going to go through an exercise where I'm going to talk you through and we'll work together to actually put an intention out into the universe of something that you want to manifest. So as you're listening to the first part, be thinking in the back of your mind, like, okay, if I wanted to put something out there that I want to create and bring into my life, what might that be? So be thinking about that. So when we get to the point where we go through the exercise, you'll have something specific in mind, because being specific with your intentions is also very helpful in having them manifest. So back in 1994, I had been working overseas on an international assignment in Europe. And I thought, first of all, coming from the US, which was roughly 200 years old, and then going and working and living overseas in Europe, where the culture and the civilization there was closer to 2,000 years old, it was mind expanding and kind of fun to learn about the different cultures and just feel the energies of things that were built, and see the frescoes or see the statues or see the artwork or see the buildings and the architecture that were thousands of years old instead of just hundreds of years old. So I found that very mind expanding. But I thought, okay, I'm coming to the end of my tour duty over there. And so I thought, I'm already halfway to Egypt. Let's take a tour. Now, back in 1994 in the Middle East, there was an awful lot of terrorism going on in that area. And so tourism was really low. So I happened to sign up for a Thomas Cook tour that was a 15-day Nile cruise, and stopping at different places along the way to see the pyramids and to see the temples and to see the museums and the things that were of interest in Egypt. And the whole trip was a blast. Right from the minute I got there, it was very clear to me that this was not just 2,000 years old. This land and these structures were 5,000 to 10,000 years old. And it was just another shift of consciousness out. It's kind of like if you've never left your town and then you go to the next town in the state, or you've never left your state and then you've gone to a different state, or you've never left the country and you go out of the country. Each time you travel, it expands what is possible in your psyche and your energy, because it just expands to you like, oh, this is out here. I didn't know this was out here. I didn't know this was here to experience. So I'm a big fan of traveling. If you can go in person, that's preferable. If you can't, there's so many great travel channels that you can get online or on TV that'll virtually take you there as well, that it's so worth the time to invest in doing that. Anyway, so I get to Egypt. I'm on this Thomas Cook tour. And I'll call it a very straight-laced tour. So this Spiritually Speaking with Alethea is sort of metaphysically, spiritually oriented, but that tour wasn't. It was just a straight-laced tourism tour. There wound up being 22 of us on this tour on the cruise boat that could hold 100 people. But because of the terrorism at the time and tourism was so low, it was a really small group. So we got to get very special treatment and brought places that maybe not everybody could get to. And so one of the places we got to go to and have private access to was the Great Pyramid at Giza. And the Great Pyramid is amazing. And I think we might have some pictures of those that we can show you, or you can certainly find those online as well, to see how it was built. But there's huge 4 foot by 4 foot blocks that they had of this massive stone that were laid together and arranged into the pyramid shape. But on the inside, there were chambers. There was a queen's chamber down below. There was tunnels. And then up in the upper section, there was the king's chamber. And in the king's chamber, there was a stone sarcophagus. And it was just the bottom part of it that was in there. So it looks like a big stone rectangle. And there was a triangular chip missing out of one of the corners that somebody had taken years ago, unfortunately. But the chamber itself and that sarcophagus was reported to have been used by the high priest in ancient times for initiation rites. So just seeing the pyramids themselves was mind-blowing and amazing, right? You've heard of pyramid power and manifesting with pyramid power and that sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But just the pyramid itself was profound. It was so huge. And to get into the king's chamber, you had to go through a long tunnel, climb up a ladder. It was called the Robber's Tunnel because originally a lot of the pyramids were pillaged by robbers and people that wanted to steal the treasures, because in ancient times, the kings that were mummified and the queens that were mummified were buried along with their household goods, their treasures. And so people wanted to get that gold and silver and whatnot, precious jewels. So the robbers didn't know that that particular chamber had not been one that was stored, that stored the king's body. It was actually more for the high priest to use, but they still dug the tunnel and got through. And when you walk into this chamber, it's about 10, maybe 12 foot by 12 foot. Not very big at all. It's a small room with the sarcophagus off to the side. And so as soon as I walked into the chamber, actually you have to crawl in. The last little bit is 1 4 foot by 4 foot block that opens up into the chamber. So you have to crawl in. And then when I stood up, I just had this feeling of, oh, I wish I could be alone. And it was a heartfelt desire. It was like, I wish I could just be alone to tune into this energy. I don't want the other members of the tour group thinking I'm too weird. Because again, it wasn't a metaphysical tour. It was a straight-laced, tourism tour, by Thomas Cook. It was not a, the mystical guide tour kind of thing. So I didn't, then this was like day 1 or 2 of the trip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 15 days with these people. I don't want them to think I'm too weird, but I would really love to just feel this energy and be able to tune in. Well, no sooner had I made that wish in my heart than the lights went out up in the chamber, went totally dark. And the top 1/3 of the robber's tunnel and the ladder, totally pitch black. It was so dark, I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. I could just see the bit of hint of light coming from the bottom of the tunnel. Now, everybody else that was on their way up into the chamber where I was at turned around and started going back down to the light. But I had my wish granted instantly. And I was like, oh, I have this time alone so I could tune into the energy of the place. So I did that, and it was really wonderful and profound. And then I would say about a minute later, the lights came back on. And I realized I had a couple of minutes before the other people on the tour down below climbed back up the ladder, came back through the tunnel, and came back into the room. And so I looked over to the sarcophagus and I thought, if that was used for initiations, I bet you it has some amazing energy in it. So I jumped into it, laid down in it, and I'm in there and I'm tuning in and I'm basking in the energy. And then I hear Martha's voice, and Martha was one of the other ladies on the tour. And she's like, oh dear, what happened to the American girl? Because she knew I had been first up in there, and now she comes in and she doesn't see me. So I'm thinking, oh God, what am I going to say that's not too weird? That's going to make her, because I can't say, oh yeah, I wanted to tune into the initiation energies that the high priest used to use that might still have a residue in this box, right? So all of a sudden it came to me again. My pure desire in my heart was, oh, please tell me, know what to say that won't sound too weird. And it just came to me instantly. And I said, hey, Martha, I'm in the box. I didn't call it a sarcophagus. I called it a box. I said, I'm in the box. And she comes over and she says, my dear, what are you doing in there? And I said, well, I was just thinking, I'm only 5'5". And look, as I stretch out, my toes and my head are touching the edges of the box. Just think how small or short the ancient Egyptians must have been. Because if this was a sarcophagus, then inside of it would have been a mummy case. And inside of the mummy case is the wrappings and the mummy. So just think how short they must have been. It just came to my mind. I just let it out, and it totally satisfied her. And she said, okay, no problem, and I said, okay, let's just keep this between you and me. I hopped out of the box and off we went on to the rest of the tour and had an amazing rest of the time. But what occurred to me was that I was in the heart of the Great Pyramid, and two desires of my heart that I expressed, these wishes that I had, were instantly granted and answered. Now, in hindsight, I thought, geez, I wish I had asked for the winning lotto numbers. But first, that probably wouldn't have been a true desire of my heart in that moment. Although I don't know. I guess if I truly, honestly wanted that, maybe it would work. But the things that I asked for were a very pure intention. And it was very fast, and it wasn't very intellectual. It was just kind of, oh, I would really love this. And that energy manifested instantly. So it really got me thinking about what is possible when we go to sacred sites. So why do we go to sacred sites, holy places? And what are some of those places? Well, obviously the Holy Land in Israel is one, Machu Picchu, going to places like Stonehenge, Avesbury Circle, the Celtic Wells, the different ancient burial grounds, the holy places like cathedrals, churches, temples, places where there have been visitations, documented visitations of holy figures, saints, angels, prophets. So places like Lourdes for Catholics who revere Mother Mary. Lourdes is a destination that has a tremendous energy and power and purpose to go there for healing and intercession of Mary for prayers. There, obviously, with the Jewish faith, the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem is a place that if you go there and you put your intentions on a piece of paper and you put it in the wall, they're supposed to help get the prayers before the altar of God. There are places that are sacred to a lot of cultures, the American Indians, the Aborigines. Ayers Rock is a place that they hold sacred. So there's a lot of natural beauty, places that are considered sacred because of visions that happened for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Sacred Grove in upstate New York is where their first president and prophet, Joseph Smith, saw a vision of Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father talking to him about what was possible and about restoring the gospel and doing different things that they eventually did with the church. Depending on your faith and depending on your culture, there are places that are known to be spiritually charged, holy, and energetically strong places that people will go to, not just for a vacation and to say, oh, I'm going to this historical site to be a part of history, to feel what I can feel and see what I can feel, or see what I can see, but also to absorb some of the inspiration, because we're all brothers and sisters in humanity. What is possible to experience for one person should be on some level equally possible for another. If you have similar physical capabilities, energetic capabilities, spiritual capabilities, you should be able to access and maybe not relive the moment so much, but to bring in some of that insight, some of that energy into who you are. And that can quicken your energy. That can enliven and rededicate you to the purpose of your life. Going to these places can be educational, they can be uplifting, they can be transformational, and they can also be places where you can have your own mystical, magical, personally powerful, healing, revelatory experiences. I know in many temples of various faiths, there is typically a holy of holies, a place within that temple, a celestial room, a high priest's altar, a sacred room where initiations happen, where conversations with God happen, where people are known to be able to get the revelation and inspiration. And so when you, with that open heart and open mind, go to one of these places where they're known for being a source, a wellspring of information and connection with something greater than self. And so many people have gone there over the years and decades and centuries and sometimes millennia. They've gone to those places, and each person that comes there leaves a little bit of that energetic faith and belief and energetic experience that's possible, so that when you go there, there's something real that you can tap into, and you can have your own experiences from that. If you tap into that energy and go, sometimes just going with a sense of curiosity, feeling a sense of gratitude and awe and wonder, because many of these places are architecturally amazing and beautiful. Others are naturally profound and beautiful. And some just have this sense, like there's this palpable, perceivable, energetic, I'll call it a mist, but it's not a mist that blinds you from it. It's just this energy that is so real you can feel it when you're in that place. It's why when you walk into a cathedral or a church or a temple or one of these holy places, you typically are quiet. You will feel a sense of reverence come over you just because of what that particular place has represented, what happened in that place, what happened to the people there, what information, energy, connection with angels, guides, God, Jesus, Mother Mary, saints have happened in that place. So there's a respect and a reverence. As soon as you walk in, you're changed from your normal tourism mode to, wow, I can feel something here. So I encourage watching documentaries, watching the Travel Channel, going to places that you can, and having that exploration, curiosity, that sense of what is possible here. And if I'm open to it, what can I perceive? What prayers of mine can be answered? What questions of mine can be have the answers prompted in my mind, or actually be revealed to me in some more powerful, profound, metaphysically esoteric way. So right now, what I'd like to do is give you an opportunity for yourself to think about something that you would like to manifest in your life. And we'll use what I learned a little bit from the pyramid there. So whether you want to visualize yourself inside a pyramid or visualize yourself inside a really, truly holy place, whether it's a celestial room at the temple, a holy of holies, a beautiful place in nature where if you're in the sacred grove or you're in up on the mountain on the field where Our Lady appeared in Lourdes, or wherever resonates with your heart, you know. If you really have that sense of tribal connection, maybe you'll see yourself near a sacred mound or Ayers Rock or wherever, right? Pick some place that really resonates with you. And while you're visualizing yourself in that energy, whether again it's in a pyramid, whether it's at one of these sacred places, I want you to think about what it is you would like to be inspired about, what you want to manifest, whether it's healing energy, whether it's information and answers or direction that you need to come into your life, whether it's something really practical, like, oh, my car just died and I need to find another mode of transportation. It can be something really worldly. That's okay too. We can go with our worldly needs to these spiritual places and ask for the desires of our heart. Maybe it's to come up with how to have a better relationship with our husband, our wife, our children, our coworkers. Maybe it's to get practical information of what's the best things to study and learn in order to get that promotion at work. Or I'm really not feeling fulfilled at work. So what can I do that can bring in the money I need to provide for my family or myself that would be more fulfilling? And what are some of those synchronicities that need to happen and things that need to present themselves so I see the open window of opportunity that I can go through? So take a moment to really crystallize for yourself what that is. And then as you're in that place in your mind's eye, and as you are holding that thought, I want you to also open up to the source of all goodness and benevolence. I want you to feel in your heart a sense of love and gratitude and appreciation that you are a child of the universe. You are a child of God. You are a child whose birthright is to claim whatever it is that you need in this world to make you happy, to fulfill your purpose, to be of service to others. So be clear on what your intention is. Be clear on what you're asking. Feel a sense of love and gratitude in your heart. You want to have the emotions and the purity of your soul and the energy of gratitude all merging together with the sense of love and intention of what it is that you're seeking. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just let it go. Let it go out into that universe. Let it fill that space, that holy space where you see yourself, whether it's inside the pyramid, inside the temple, filling the field of that sacred grove or field. And put that out there with that knowledge that it's being cast into the universe and that your prayers will be answered, that the intentions and desires of your heart will start to manifest. And your only job going forward, well, you have two, actually. It's not your only job. But your main job is to notice what you notice and then to take action. So you have the clarity of what it is that you want. And as you start to receive information back, notice what you notice. Have eyes to see. If you think back to scriptures, what are some of the quotes? It says, it prompts us to have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to love and a mind and intellect to comprehend, right? So it's telling us, it's giving us clues. Have all of your senses involved and pay attention, because the answers, the manifesting is coming, the creation is coming. Because you've asked for it and put it out there, something will come back to you. So you have to be ready to receive it and pay attention to those promptings, the information, the intuitions that come to you that help to guide you so that you'll be in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people for you to help them or them to help you help others and help yourself. So that taking action is the next part of it. Years ago, there was a book and a movie called The Secret, and it really helped people shift into understanding that, I have to be clear about putting things out there, and I need to have that intention. And I think where many people fell short was in the implementation of understanding, putting it out there is fine. That's the first step. But you also have to then do your part to receive the answer and then take the action and take the steps that are needed to bring those things into manifestation. And you can be patient. It may not be you manifest the entirety of it instantly. It may be you're getting a piece of it and another piece of it and another piece of it. And it's the pieces of the puzzle that all finally fit together. And it's your job again to notice the piece, get that piece, get that piece. And each time you get a piece, give gratitude. and affirm to yourself, oh, what I've asked for, what I've needed, what I'm trying to manifest and create in my life, it's coming to me. Here's the proof. Here's another piece. Here's another piece. I'm moving in the direction of the person that I am becoming and the life that I am creating and manifesting. I'm on my way there. I'm not just there yet, but I'm on my way there. And the tools and the people and the resources and the steps that I need to get that, to have that manifest, to create that in my life, to solve and heal what I was working on, that is all in process. It's on its way and it's coming. So I hope you'll be playful with this exercise. It's one you can do pretty much anywhere, anytime you'd like. Feel free to ask questions, put comments, share your experiences on this post at some point in time. To end today, I'd like to share with you a poem that had come through to me, and it's called The Crystals on the Hill. And it was when I was at the Monroe Institute, which is in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Faber, Virginia. And there's 2 campuses there that have these giant rose quartz crystals, and they just bring a beautiful energy to the place. And the Monroe Institute is a fabulous institute. I'll give a shout out to them as a place where you can go to learn and process and develop and really work on some of the things like manifesting in your life. So I was sitting on a bench by one of these crystals at the Monroe Institute, June, a couple years ago, and a poem came through to me, and I want to share that with you now, just to show you the kinds of things that can unexpectedly pop in when you're in a place. And I wouldn't necessarily call the Monroe Institute a sacred place, but it is a place where sacred things can happen. And there's an energy, a spiritual portal or possibility that's there where things like this can happen. And I just want to use this as an example of something that can happen if you're open and paying attention while you're in any of these inspiring places in nature, the sacred places, culturally or religiously, like the temples or the pyramids or sacred groves, etc. Okay, so this poem is called The Crystals on the Hill. The guardian stones stand like sentinels in time, holding the space and energy for any who wish to visit and play. They come from a distant land and ancient time to remind us that we are all connected. They shine their light and sing their song, vibrating love for all who have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to feel. What will you see as you gaze into the portal it creates? Into other lands and other times, perhaps? What messages come forth from the frequencies aligning the vibrations of your soul? How will your heart and soul be touched and forever changed by the cumulative, collective love they offer, asking nothing but your love in return to add to the whole, healing and inspiration, joy and love. Awaken and remember, we are all one. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spiritually Speaking with Alethea. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, hit like, give us your comments, ask your questions. I really want this podcast to be one where it can be as interactive to your needs as possible. I love to tell stories. I love to teach and share some information. I love to give you exercises that might be new to you or reminders of things you've known that you can practice and have curiosity about and play with. So I want this to be time well spent where you feel edified and uplifted afterwards. And hopefully it gives you a little bit of guidance, some fun, some relief from your day, and some of the straight talk about some concepts that are out there that maybe you didn't know a lot about, and gives you the courage and the curiosity to go try it for yourself and see what happens. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Once again, this is Alethea Jacob from Spiritually Speaking with Alethea. Have a blessed day, and thanks for joining us. Bye now.